Good morning, everyone. As we enter 2025, I want to challenge you to stop being nice. I know that may sound a little controversial, maybe even uncomfortable. After all, we've been taught to be kind, polite, and considerate of others, right? But let's pause for a moment and rethink what nice really means. Redefining niceness requires us to take a hard look at what it really means in today's world. We've been conditioned to believe that niceness is synonymous with kindness, but the reality is that niceness often comes at the expense of our true selves. It's about maintaining an image of pleasantness, politeness, and agreeable behavior, sometimes even when it conflicts with our own desires, feelings, or values. In many situations, being nice means putting the comfort of others before our own well-being. It's saying yes when we actually want to say no because we're worried about disappointing someone or causing conflict. It's biting our tongue during conversations that we know are unproductive or even harmful, all to avoid a confrontation. The issue with this kind of niceness is that it doesn't allow us to be honest or authentic. Instead, it creates a facade that we feel obligated to maintain. But let's reconsider the notion of niceness. True kindness isn't about masking our feelings or avoiding hard truths. Kindness comes from a place of empathy, understanding, and respect for others, but it's rooted in authenticity. You can still be kind while speaking your truth, setting boundaries, and advocating for yourself and others. Niceness, on the other hand, is rooted in pleasing others at the expense of your own needs and often leaves you feeling drained, frustrated, or resentful. Redefining niceness means we have to confront the discomfort that comes with honesty. It means choosing authenticity over conformity, even when that means going against the grain or disappointing others. It means allowing ourselves to be real in our interactions, expressing our true thoughts and emotions, and respecting ourselves enough to put our own needs first. When we stop prioritizing niceness, we open up space for genuine connection, for conversations that matter, and for relationships that are based on mutual respect rather than superficial pleasantries. This shift may not be easy, especially for those of us who have spent years or even decades perfecting the art of being nice. But as we redefine niceness, we take the power back not just in how we interact with others, but in how we understand ourselves. Being kind is about showing up as your full, authentic self and embracing the discomfort that might come with challenging the status quo. Niceness, in the traditional sense, doesn't allow for that kind of growth. Personal boundaries are an essential aspect of healthy relationships, yet many of us struggle to set them, especially in a society that often values people-pleasing and avoidance of conflict. Boundaries are not about building walls or distancing ourselves from others. They are about understanding our limits and asserting our needs in a respectful and self-respecting manner. They are a reflection of self-awareness and self-care, recognizing that we have the right to define what we are comfortable with in any given situation. When we don't set boundaries, we risk compromising our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Without clear boundaries, we may find ourselves overwhelmed, resentful, or even burnt out from constantly giving to others without considering our own needs. Boundaries are not just about saying no to others, they are also about saying yes to ourselves. By establishing boundaries, we give ourselves permission to prioritize our own health, happiness, and personal space. For many, setting boundaries can feel challenging because we fear disappointing others or creating tension in our relationships. We've been taught that being nice means being accommodating, always available, and agreeable. But in truth, the absence of boundaries doesn't make us more compassionate or generous. It just leads to exhaustion and a lack of respect for ourselves. Boundaries allow us to show up as our authentic selves, making sure we are not just meeting the needs of others, but also honoring our own. Personal boundaries are not rigid rules or lines in the sand. They are fluid and dynamic, adjusting according to context and situation. For example, in the professional setting, a boundary might be setting limits around work hours, while in personal relationships, it might involve communicating our needs for emotional support or space. These boundaries evolve as we grow and change, reflecting our shifting priorities and values. What matters is that we stay true to ourselves and recognize when our boundaries are being tested or crossed. Setting boundaries also requires us to be comfortable with discomfort. It means speaking up when something doesn't feel right, even if it's difficult, or if we worry about the reactions of others. In a world where niceness often trumps honesty, it's easy to allow ourselves to be pushed past our limits. But the truth is that by not setting boundaries, we are not giving others the opportunity to respect us. And we are not giving ourselves the chance to feel valued and heard. The process of setting boundaries can be liberating. It creates space for us to nurture our relationships and our own well-being simultaneously. It allows us to engage with others in a way that's balanced and respectful, where both parties can express their needs and find common ground without sacrificing themselves in the process. Establishing and maintaining personal boundaries requires ongoing effort, self-reflection, and communication. It's not always easy, but it's essential for fostering genuine connections and living a life that is aligned with our true values. The cost of pleasing others often goes unnoticed until we reach a breaking point. For many, the instinct to please others is deeply ingrained. It's tied to a desire for approval, acceptance, and connection. However, when we constantly prioritize the happiness and comfort of others over our own, we begin to pay a heavy price, both mentally and emotionally. Pleasing others might seem like a harmless act, but over time it erodes our sense of self and leaves us feeling empty, unfulfilled, and even resentful. When we constantly try to meet the expectations of others, we lose sight of our own needs and desires. We may say yes when we really want to say no, or agree to things we don't actually believe in because we fear rejection or conflict. This tendency to put others' needs ahead of our own can result in feelings of frustration, burnout, and a lack of personal satisfaction. What starts as a desire to make others happy eventually leads to a sense of being overwhelmed and underappreciated. The more we give, the more others expect, and often the less we receive in return. The cost of pleasing others also extends to our relationships. While it might seem like pleasing others is a way to build strong connections, the opposite can be true. Relationships that are based on people pleasing are rarely authentic. When we are constantly accommodating, never fully expressing ourselves, we create an environment where true intimacy and understanding are impossible. The connection becomes superficial, built on maintaining appearances and avoiding discomfort rather than on honest communication and mutual respect. Pleasing others can also lead to a cycle of self-neglect. When we're always focused on making sure others are comfortable, we ignore our own emotional, physical, and mental well-being. This might manifest as skipping out on things that bring us joy, abandoning our personal goals, or suppressing our own emotions to make others feel better. Over time, this neglect builds up, often resulting in anxiety, depression, and a deep sense of dissatisfaction. We begin to feel like we are losing ourselves in the process of trying to be everything for everyone else. At its core, the cost of pleasing others is a loss of personal agency. We begin to define our worth based on how much we can give or how well we can meet the needs of others, rather than by who we truly are or what we truly want. This external validation becomes a crutch, and it traps us in a cycle where we feel as though we must constantly perform in order to earn love, respect, or admiration. Over time, this disconnect from our true selves leaves us feeling exhausted and unfulfilled, even when we have pleased those around us. In addition, constantly seeking to please others can lead to a lack of boundaries, where we allow ourselves to be taken advantage of, manipulated, or exploited. When we are afraid to say no or disappoint others, we open ourselves up to being overwhelmed with responsibilities, expectations, and demands that are not aligned with our own values or capacity. The more we give in to the pressure to please, the more others may take advantage, assuming we will always comply to avoid conflict or discomfort. Ultimately, the cost of pleasing others is the cost of losing yourself. The energy spent trying to meet external expectations comes at the expense of our internal peace, self-respect, and personal fulfillment. While it's natural to want to help and support the people we care about, it's equally important to recognize when the act of pleasing others is depleting our own well-being and inhibiting our ability to live authentically. In 2025, it's time to question whether the cost of pleasing others is worth the price we're paying for our own peace of mind. Building respect is foundational to creating meaningful and lasting relationships, whether in our personal lives, at work, or in our communities. However, respect is not something that can be demanded or assumed. It must be earned through consistent actions, honesty, and clear communication. In a world where superficial interactions often dominate, true respect is built over time through a deep understanding of oneself and others, as well as the willingness to be vulnerable, authentic, and accountable. Respect begins with self-respect. It's impossible to expect others to respect us if we don't respect ourselves first. This means acknowledging our own worth, understanding our values, and setting boundaries that protect our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. When we show up for ourselves in an authentic way, we teach others how to treat us. Self-respect also involves standing firm in our beliefs and not compromising our values for the sake of others' approval. It requires us to honor our needs and desires and to be unafraid of asserting them, even if it means facing discomfort or disagreement. Building respect also involves showing respect to others, which is not just about being polite or agreeable, but about truly valuing them as individuals. It means listening attentively when someone speaks, showing empathy in their struggles, and acknowledging their feelings without judgment. Respecting others involves recognizing their boundaries and never taking advantage of their kindness or generosity. It also means being honest and transparent in our dealings rather than hiding behind pleasantries or pretending to be something we're not. Honesty and integrity are key elements in fostering respect. When we are truthful, we create an environment where others feel safe to be open and honest with us in return. Respect is also built on consistency. It's not enough to be respectful in some situations while neglecting to uphold it in others. Consistent behavior, both in how we treat others and how we expect to be treated, is essential in building a reputation of respect. This means following through on commitments, being reliable, and demonstrating that we value others' time, energy, and resources. When we act in a predictable, dependable manner, others come to trust and respect us because they know they can rely on us, regardless of the circumstances. One of the most important aspects of building respect is showing accountability. When we make mistakes, and we all do, owning up to them and taking responsibility is vital. Avoiding blame or shifting responsibility only erodes respect, as it shows a lack of integrity and maturity. Apologizing sincerely and making efforts to repair the damage not only shows respect for others, but also helps us grow and develop as individuals. Accountability also means being open to feedback and willing to improve, rather than defensively rejecting criticism or blaming others for our shortcomings. Additionally, building respect often involves discomfort and sacrifice. It may require us to stand up for what is right even when it's difficult or unpopular. It may mean having tough conversations or challenging the status quo, especially in situations where fairness or justice is at stake. These acts of courage build respect, as they demonstrate that we are willing to fight for principles that transcend convenience or personal gain. People respect those who have the conviction to act in alignment with their beliefs, regardless of the potential consequences. Lastly, respect requires vulnerability and humility. Being willing to admit when we don't know something or when we've made a mistake creates an environment of mutual respect where people feel safe to be imperfect and learn from one another. It also means treating others as equals regardless of their status, position, or background. Respect doesn't depend on hierarchy or power. It's about recognizing the inherent value in every person and acknowledging their contributions, whether big or small. This kind of respect fosters an atmosphere of collaboration where everyone feels valued and empowered to share their unique perspectives. Building respect is a continuous process. It's not a one-time act, but a series of intentional choices and behaviors that build trust, deepen relationships, and create a foundation of mutual understanding. When respect is present, it creates an environment where people can thrive, express themselves freely, and contribute to one another's growth and well-being. It's a powerful tool for connection, collaboration, and creating positive change. Respect, when nurtured, can become the cornerstone of any strong, healthy relationship. Embracing discomfort for growth is a concept that challenges the very core of how we've been conditioned to think about success, happiness, and self-improvement. Most of us are naturally drawn to comfort, whether it's a familiar routine, a stable job, or the safety of people who share our values and beliefs. Comfort feels good, it feels secure and predictable. However, growth rarely happens in these zones of safety. In fact, growth often requires stepping out of the familiar and venturing into the unknown, where discomfort and uncertainty are inevitable companions. Discomfort in this sense should not be viewed as something negative or to be avoided. Instead, it's an essential part of the growth process. When we face uncomfortable situations, whether it's a difficult conversation, a challenging project, or confronting personal weaknesses, we are being pushed to expand our capabilities and understanding. Discomfort is a signal that we are stretching beyond our current limits, that we are being asked to evolve in some way. It's the discomfort of learning something new, of making mistakes, and of encountering obstacles that ultimately leads to growth and transformation. One of the most powerful ways discomfort fosters growth is through pushing us to face our fears. Many of us are held back by fears: fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of not being good enough. These fears can keep us stuck in patterns that don't serve us, preventing us from pursuing our passions, taking risks, or challenging ourselves to be better. When we lean into discomfort, we challenge these fears head on. Each time we step out of our comfort zone and survive, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of more than we thought. With each challenge we overcome, we build resilience and confidence, which propels us forward to face even greater challenges. Discomfort also plays a crucial role in personal development by helping us become more self-aware. When we experience discomfort, it often forces us to confront aspects of ourselves that we might prefer to ignore: our insecurities, our limitations, and our flaws. This can be painful, as it requires honesty and vulnerability. However, these moments of discomfort are often when we learn the most about who we are and what we truly want. By acknowledging our weaknesses and fears, we create an opportunity to address them, to grow stronger, and to become more aligned with our true selves. Without discomfort, we might continue to live in denial or in autopilot, avoiding the hard truths that are necessary for our evolution. Moreover, embracing discomfort is critical for developing resilience and adaptability. In life, things don't always go as planned. We face setbacks, surprises, and situations beyond our control. How we respond to these challenges determines whether we stagnate or grow. If we shy away from discomfort and avoid difficult situations, we limit our ability to adapt and recover when life throws curveballs. However, when we embrace discomfort, we train ourselves to be more flexible, resourceful, and capable of handling adversity. Each time we face a challenging situation and navigate it successfully, we build our emotional strength and our capacity to persevere in the face of uncertainty. Discomfort is also integral to learning and mastering new skills. In any field or discipline, growth comes through practice, failure, and continuous improvement. The process of learning is rarely smooth. It is filled with mistakes, missteps, and moments of frustration. But without these struggles, we would never acquire the depth of understanding or proficiency required to truly excel. Whether we're learning a new language, developing a professional skill, or pursuing a personal goal, the discomfort of failure and the struggle of progress are what push us to refine our abilities and ultimately achieve mastery. Additionally, embracing discomfort can enhance our ability to connect with others. We often avoid uncomfortable conversations or situations because we fear conflict or judgment. However, avoiding discomfort can prevent us from building deeper, more meaningful relationships. Tough conversations, whether they're about personal issues, differing opinions, or uncomfortable truths, are essential for creating authentic connections. When we are willing to embrace discomfort in our interactions with others, we create space for honest dialogue, mutual understanding, and stronger bonds. This willingness to engage with discomfort fosters empathy, trust, and growth within relationships. The idea of embracing discomfort also extends to our mindset. A fixed mindset where we believe our abilities and intelligence are static leads us to shy away from challenges and avoid discomfort at all costs. On the other hand, a growth mindset embraces discomfort as part of the learning process. People with a growth mindset understand that discomfort isn't a sign of failure, but a sign that they are stretching their abilities. They view challenges as opportunities to learn, improve, and expand their potential. This mindset shift is crucial in fostering resilience, motivation, and long-term success in all aspects of life. Ultimately, embracing discomfort for growth is a choice. It requires us to step into uncertainty, challenge our assumptions, and lean into the discomfort that naturally arises when we pursue meaningful change. While this can be daunting, the rewards are immense: greater self-awareness, stronger resilience, improved skills, and deeper connections with others. The discomfort we experience on our journey is not something to avoid, but something to welcome as an essential part of our personal and professional development.